lot of comments and questions about different things with my videos, and I feel like I owe the service of letting my daily listeners, my daily subscribers, my day one fans, just to let them know like a little insight on what's going on as far as like videos, content, and just answering any questions that you may have. So I got them written down right here on my phone. First question: what is one simple daily habit that you do when you're out here in nature and you feel as if life and things can be overwhelming? So for me, when I feel that life or things are overwhelming, I honestly stick to what I know best, and that's going out and snapping photos and pictures of just any and everything dealing with nature, outdoor content. So to kind of implement that in your life, nature may not be the vibe for you or the thing that makes sense to you when life is feeling overwhelmed. If you play sports, go to the gym, put up a few shots, kick a few field goals, kick a few penalty shots, play a few rounds of golf. If you are into reading or riding a bike, go ride a bike, go read. You like cooking food, you want to be a chef, go cook some food. There's all these different things where when life is overwhelming, you just kind of got to find you an outlet or an atmosphere that makes sense to you. And don't rush it. Just kind of just take your time, sit in that atmosphere, and over time, it'll do what it need to do. It'll work. It'll make sense. Kev, what is your favorite way to disconnect from the digital world and tune into the outdoors? I love this question, honestly, because one, if you follow me on social media, you'll know from time to time I have these spurts where I kind of disappear and I'm not really involved in content, taking emails, taking phone numbers, or doing anything with nature or content. So, how I disconnect, I'll deactivate my social media, really all social medias. Um, I'll sit it down, I'll walk away from it, and then I'll begin to focus more on what truly matters. And the things that truly matter are time with friends, time with family, the people that you hold near and dear to your heart. Um, I'll spend more time outdoors in nature, but I won't take any pictures, videos, content. These items do not follow me outdoors, and I'll literally spend weeks to a month, maybe up to a year, just stepping away from the scene and reconnecting with me. It's important to reconnect with ourselves because as time changes, as the world changes in front of our eyes, we're adapting with the world as the world is adapting with us. So when that happens is you have to also update who you are as a person. Just because we got out of high school or college, whatever level of learning that you have, I guess, passed, the world doesn't stop moving. You can always keep learning. You can always keep improving. You can always keep progressing in life. If you could plant a tree, knowing you'd never be able to sit in the shade of that tree, what kind of tree would it be and why? Well, I really don't know too much about like different types and styles of trees, but how I would describe it is if there was a tree that I would plant today, but I wouldn't be able to sit in the shade, basically it means like you might not be able to reap the benefits of the work and the things that you've done today, but maybe the generation after you can. Um, I'm very long term thinking and about wealth overall and just changing the trajectory of my family. So I honestly feel like I would have to plant a tree that is very massive. I want the wealth where the giving tree never stops giving, you know? And You can do that by building out an ecosystem that makes sense around what you're doing. So honestly, we'll go with that one. It makes sense. All right, next question. How do you cultivate patience when working towards a long-term goal? So I like this question because at times we can fall short or we can like just get a bit flustered along the way with the journey. And this goes back to the original question or the question right before this. How do you reconnect with yourself or how do you get away? You got to shut these phones off. Shut the cameras off, get off social media, and that is the that is the main part of how you can understand patience. When you understand the long term is day to day, there are always going to be small things that pop up that kind of may deter you or distract you from where you want to go. And overall, you have to stay true to yourself and learn what you're doing out here in life. Honestly, without merging. This is the problem. What happens in life is sometimes we can look into other people's lanes and see what they got going on, and it may seem like they're moving faster than us, but they've built themselves to that speed or that pace. And you trying to merge into their lane because it seems like you're getting left behind. The first mistake we made is trying to look at what everybody else got going on. And this is what social media does. Sometimes it has us looking at others and it can discourage us from what we're doing. And we feel like we're not enough or we're not doing enough. And that isn't necessarily the case. All you have to do is one, if you start feeling like the comparison thing, or you start feeling insecure about who you are, what you're doing, yo, fall back, remove those things. Because now, with ample amount of time where it's just nothing but just focus on what you're doing, you start implementing things on how you can improve and how you can get better. A way I got better lately, I've been going to the gym, steam room, sauna, swimming pool, treadmill, a little bit of weights, and honestly, it has been working. I have been improving and handling my business. Which book or piece of writing has had the biggest impact on your long-term worldview? So, I didn't have a book or a piece of writing that helped my long-term point of view, but it was a friend that I met in school. So I went to school out in Kansas, and originally my initial feeling of being out in Kansas was more like I didn't know what to think. It was just a blank draw. I'm just like, okay, I'm out here. Then over time, I started getting settled in and understanding a lot of smaller towns and communities are very close and close knit to each other, close knit to each other, um, more friendly, more inclined to remember faces because you see them every day, as opposed to a larger town or city. Um, I had a friend from Singapore, and he was explaining the long-term value of investing. And during this time, granted, we didn't know how to, but he was telling us about um, different investments to look at. And at the time, I was 17, 18 years old. I was focused on any and everything but what he was talking about. And he was telling me to use some of the money I got in school to invest for my future. So this is the part with long-term patience and endurance is you're building something out that'll last the test of time. You can't be caught up about your product or your idea not working right now. And the thing with that is, yo, just take your time. Just take your time. All you have to do is just take your time and understand and realize that it's not your season, it's not your time for these things to work. And once you understand that is it'll give you the roadmap to build it out. So fast, this was 2013 when he told me about investing. I had a teacher who was showing me percentages that went past 100. Now, growing up, I did not know things go past 100%. I knew numbers went past 100, but not percentages. And I was, because in sports, they tell you to give your 100%, give it your all. He was showing me percentages on a computer for 1,500%, 2,000%, 10,000%. And it just turned a little spark. But I put that little tab in the back of my compartment and I didn't use it then. Fast forward 2020, the pandemic hit. And when the pandemic hit, a lot of these assets took off. My buddy from Singapore calls me, hey, did you check out any of those items? No, I did not. And he shows me the original price or value of the asset as opposed to what it was in 2020. And in that 7 year span, a lot of these things went 4, 5, 10x. And I was honestly shocked seeing like over time as you get caught up in the day to day or enjoy life, in the background, you should have assets working for you. So that's something that always stuck with me and like something that I learned to stay long term. It says, if you could share a quiet cup of tea with anyone, past or present, who would it be? I think because my approach to life is trying to implement more of a quiet approach, not really doing too much talking or anything, I would want to share a cup of tea with someone kind of like quiet that doesn't really speak a lot, but there's a lot of value and lessons to be learned through just understanding the presence right here that lays in front of you, the nature. I think that person would be someone of like great thinking, deep thinking, studying, has learned their self, can understand the capabilities of their body, what they can and can't do. Um, it will honestly be someone like Peyton Manning, Kobe Bryant, or Bruce Lee. To perfect and hone into your craft hours and hours and hours at a time, you do become a master at what it is that you're doing. And this is the thing I like about long term is you allow your you allow your discipline, your structure, your routine to take form and shape of what it is that you're trying to implement. But over time, as you start learning more about yourself, you adjust these minor tweaks on what makes sense and what doesn't make sense for your brand, your image, your content, your business, whatever it is that you're focused on. And I learned something from listening. I used to watch Bruce Lee. I think it was Enter the Dragon, where he's pointing his finger somewhere and he was like, don't focus on right here. Otherwise, you'll miss all of this. So I don't focus on what's right now, what doesn't make sense right now. I focused on what will make sense in the future. Is you'll have a successful business, you'll have a successful brand. You as a person will be whole, will be complete. You'll be fit, you'll be strong. And me thinking that way is I don't trip on the shortcomings of today or tomorrow because everybody's gonna fall short. It's just about how you pick yourself up and keep going forward. Peyton Manning, Kobe Bryant, attention, attention, attention to detail. They never really, in my opinion, I feel like most of their career, the losses were not on them because of the prep and attention to detail. So if you're studying the game, if you're improving, if you're doing what you need to do, and just building your foundation, a solid foundation about what you're doing, it kind of sets you up for you to win, to knock down the big shot. To when the opportunity comes, you're nervous or you don't know what's going on, that composure, that studying, that film, that detail takes you back to, okay, this is what I'm going to fall back on. And you'll let instinct take over. All right. So those are all the questions that I have for today. But I would love to continue to do Q&A with my daily listeners and my subscribers. If you haven't already, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Quiet Minds YouTube channel.